years ago. So, now all this, let me say a few words about this little book and how it came about to be published by McGraw Hill International Marine Division just about a month ago. Now this was at some point in my life, I designed a trimaran, and the trimaran are lightweight boat, and they need a lightweight tender. So I designed a little Uqbar, basically a tender for my trimaran, and I tried to make it in those time light and practical for carrying people and running around. And that's how the first Uqbar came into existence. And then other people in the marina looked at it, liked it, so I built more for them, and then eventually I had a little business going for a few years in which I was selling, there was no internet yet. And so I was selling plants, kits, and a few ready-made boats. I had a shop in Jersey City, across the river from Manhattan. So it was great fun for a few years. And eventually, at that time when I started, there was practically no little boat made that way. And then Wooden Boat magazine undercut me because they designed a little boat, the Acorn pram, to build like that, and naturally my orders fell down just as well. But I didn't intend to make that my life project. And so it went. I think during those times I probably sold some 2,000 sets of plants, and maybe a few dozen kits. I have no idea how many Uqbar were actually built, but I know there was some built in Homer, Alaska. For some reason, one person built one there, and obviously other people liked it because there must have been about 10 Uqbars in Homer, Alaska. I had someone built in Japan, in the Sea of Japan, on their aircraft carrier, even, and etc., etc. Okay, so fast forward about 30 years. Peggy's nephew, Tom's brother, is Will Backman, lives in Maine, and he bought a cabin on a lake. At that point, he came to me and said, now that I have a cabin on a lake, I have to build an Uqbar. Huh? So I said, okay. So I looked in the basement, and I found all kinds of papers, and with all the plans, all the explanation, guides were all ready over there. So I looked at all these papers and all these plans, gave it to him, and we talked about it. So on that occasion, I had to put it together in a coherent way. And then David Stiles, who is a designer of all kind of outdoor structure, treehouse, etc., told me, why don't you have them published? I said, who is going to publish that? I mean, I said, well, yes, you should try. After all, so I had everything ready, so why not? So I sent it about 3 or 4 places, like that. And one international marine just grabbed it just like that. Said, we love it, we take it back, there was no effort at all. And that's how it came about. Okay. So, now, what he's done Taylor. It's right here. This is on Laos Point. This Uqbar, look at it, it was about 25 years old or so, and used, as you see, to what we call gun hauling. In that case, we are pulling out a mooring, etc. So that's one of those, because they last a long time. Yeah. Now, what the point is, how do we want to do that? What I want to show is now how to built this little boat. The claim is that it's simple to build. Now we all know that simple does not exist. Nothing is ever simple. If you try to build anything, you know very well. But within the nothing is ever simple is simple, relatively. Because the technique of the stitch and glue is fairly easy steps. So the normal thing in boats, as you know, everything is curved. And to put together curves is not so easy because you have to painstakingly adjust all the changing angles so they fit. And this is where this stitch and glue technique comes. The basic steps are very simple. You stitch together different panels with, now we can use plastic ties. In the old times we used only copper ties. And then over the stitching, you put an epoxy fillet. Your epoxy becomes, with some fillers, you put some consistency of putty, more or less, and you put it over, as I show you in a moment, you put it over the fillet, and when the epoxy cures, everything goes together for 100% bond. So that's how we do it. So, now, let's see. Who's in charge? Stephen?
I think he did.
Who was he?
Me. I'm here.
I'm
I'm in charge.
Get to the next.
Which way?
No. That's we have to go back to the next
To the
folder.
beginning.
Another
Next
folder.
folder.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Tom, you know how to do things like that?
The next folder. Yeah. Get the back of it. Okay. Good. Okay. Click on that for me.
We travel with our own
Okay.
tech department.
This shows the different size of models of the little boat. Okay? The most popular one was the 8-footer, and then next to it was a 10-footer at the bottom, and then the 7-footer, which is Peggy's favorite because she could handle it by herself on board, and the 6-footer, which is really much too small for any sea voyage, but practical if you have a little pond or a small body of water. Next. So, we start the process by cutting all the different pieces to exact shape. And in order to do this, we provide this diagram. The materials are sheets of plywood, basically. So you've got a sheet of plywood, which is not very expensive. They are basically sheets of plywood, common plywood that you can find in a hardware store. My favorite type is called Luan plywood, which is Philippine mahogany, 1/4 inch, and which is a nice finish on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 thickness or veneer?
No, 1 thickness only, just 1/4 inch. And so, in order to cut the piece for shape, you lay down your plywood, and on it you trace exactly this, which means you have the center line. This has to be symmetrical, of course. So the center line on the middle of the plywood, you trace the vertical, and you establish all these, and you bang little nails in every intersection there, and bend a batten around it, and you can trace normally the shape.
So this is flat on the
This
ground?
is flat. You put it flat on whatever, like some nails at every intersection. The batten is a thin piece of wood that you put around it, so you can shape it you can trace it like this. So this would be the center plank. Next one. This would be the side plank. As you can see, the side plank is a little more complicated, but not much. Because the principle is exactly the same. They say the baseline